Hey, what's poppin', everybody? No video yesterday. I had some stuff I had to do. I had to get some stuff knocked out on my off day, so I wasn't able to put together a video yesterday. Just didn't have the time. So let's go ahead and recap the last 2 days. The lock of the day from 2 days ago was Reggie Jackson under 5.5 assists. Went well under. Even last night, they bumped his line all the way down to 4. He still went under his line last night. So easy play there for the lock of the day with Reggie Jackson. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. sold pretty hard that other night on December 7th. I think he had 4 at the half. In the fourth quarter, he scored more points in the first minute and a half than he scored the entire first half. So that's disappointing. Just never really got his shot going, never really got aggressive offensively. So that's a bummer with our Jaren Jackson Jr. there. And then Mikal Bridges under 20.5 points and rebounds. Soared under, I think he only had 7. Obviously, I wasn't expecting the Suns to get blown out by the Celtics. But the Celtics are playing on a whole different level right now than the rest of the league. So makes a little bit of sense. So with 2 for 1 that day on December 7th. Then yesterday we posted this slip late on Instagram. So make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. And the lock of the day yesterday was Damian Lillard over 23.5 points. Obviously, he had a big night, finished with 40. Bones Highland over 17.5 points and assists. Falls 1 short there, so that's a little bit of a bummer there. And then Jalen Green over 23.5 points. I think he shot at half, was shooting like 4 for 14, and then finished the night like 5 for 15 or something like that. Horrible night shooting from Jaren Jackson Jr. And also was not anticipating the Rockets to get blown out by 20 to the 11 game losing streak Spurs. So I thought that game was going to be a lot closer than it ended up being. And because of that, that's why I took Jalen Green. I thought because it was going to be a close game, Jalen Green was going to score some buckets. That's the exact opposite. Well, I mean, to be fair, for most of the game, it was neck and neck. And then the Spurs the Rockets just started chucking up threes, and the Spurs were converting. And then Keldon Johnson was getting whatever he wanted last night. So 1 for 2 day yesterday, and then 2 for 1 day the day before. Slowly but surely, kind of connecting on some plays here today, or last couple of days. So let's get into it for today. Falling behind on the 6 units on the month, so we've got to convert on a slip today, so draw us back to even on the month. So let's get it going, guys. Hey, real quick, it is the holiday season, and what better gifts than to give your loved ones, your friends, and your family than tickets to see their favorite artist perform in concert, whether they're dancing, singing, comedian, or to see their favorite team perform live in front of them, whether they get to watch their favorite players perform in person for the very first time, or this is, the 5th or 6th time. There's no better way to do that than with SeatGeek tickets. So buy those tickets off of SeatGeek, and courtesy of Take My Shot, if you guys use code Take My Shot when you guys purchase those tickets, you're gonna get $20 off your first purchase of tickets off of SeatGeek. Now, obviously, I just went to that New Orleans Pelicans versus the New Orleans Saints versus the Baltimore Ravens game I just went to the other day. Bought those tickets, of course, on SeatGeek. No better way to buy those tickets. And I'm actually thinking about buying some more tickets off SeatGeek. I'm thinking about taking these Bucks at Pelicans. Of course, I live right next to New Orleans. Not right next to, about an hour and a half or so. But I'm thinking about buying these tickets to go watch the Pelicans play the Bucks in New Orleans. Look how cheap these tickets are. $185 to be right there on, not on court level, but to be on that first level range. Even $160, $100 right there to be right behind the basket there, $160. No better way to buy tickets than on SeatGeek. And if you guys use code TakeMyShot, you guys are going to get $20 off that first purchase. Perfect just in time for the holiday season. So make sure you guys use code TakeMyShot when you buy these tickets. Make sure you buy those tickets off SeatGeek, man, no better way. All right, today's lock of the day is a perfect example of a night-to-night matchup and why you can't let a past performance of a guy impact the current performance that he's going to have the upcoming night. Because just 2 days ago, we took Mikal Bridges under his points and rebounds of 20.5 versus the Celtics. And today he's the lock of the day over 14.5 points today versus the New Orleans Pelicans. We've abused and used the small forward points line versus the Pelicans this year, and we're going to continue to do it here today. I actually went into this line projecting to play Devin Booker. And then as I was looking at box scores and as I was looking at matchups, I found that Mikal Bridges was having a lot of success versus the Pelicans. Obviously has played the Pelicans a lot in the last couple of, or really the last season. In his last 4 regular season matchups, he was averaging 18.3 points per game, scoring 22, 23, 8, and 20. So going 3 for 4 in all 4 of his regular season matchups last year. Then he also played a 6-game playoff series versus them last year in the playoffs, of course. In that 6-game playoff series, guess what? He averaged 17.3 points and went over in 4 out of 6 of those games. So he's actually played them 10 times in the last, couple of months or so here has Mikal Bridges. He's gotten over in 7 out of 10 of those games. He's averaging 17.7 points per game as Mikal Bridges. Obviously, you can't look at his last recent couple of games for Mikal Bridges because the last 3 games have been nothing but blowouts either way. They blew out the Spurs by like 30, almost 40. They blew out the Mavericks blew them out by like 20 or 30, and then they just got blown out by the Celtics by like 20 or 30. So a whole lot of blowouts. There's a reason why Mikal Bridges' recent production has been down a whole lot. especially his minutes. He's a guy who normally plays like anywhere between 35 to 39 minutes a game, and his production minutes-wise has been way down. But I'm anticipating, again, I keep playing games that are super close spreads, and then they end up just going the complete opposite direction. But this game is sitting at a 1.5-point spread, just barely has the Suns favored in this game. I expect this game to be a close competitive game between the number 1 seed in the West and the number 2 seed. I believe the Suns are the number 2 seed in the West. So 2 of the top 2 teams in the West right now should have a brawl of a game tonight, even without Brandon Ingram for the Pelicans. Should be a competitive game between these 2 teams. So I'm expecting Mikal Bridges, with the addition of Chris Paul back on the floor, to get some easy threes, get some easy buckets. So give me Mikal Bridges over 14.5 points today's lock of the day. Okay, back to big men we go, but we're going to take the under. So we're going to head over to the Detroit game. We're going to take Isaiah Stewart under 18.5 points and rebounds. Honestly, if there was just a rebounds line in the time that I made this video, I would have just taken the rebounds line. There just wasn't. So I went ahead and took the points and rebounds line for Isaiah Stewart. He's played the Grizzlies 6 times in his young career, has Isaiah Stewart, and he's gone under in 5 out of 6 of those matchups. Memphis is the number 1 rebounding team in the entire NBA. They grab the most rebounds in the entire NBA, and they give up the second least amount of rebounds to centers in the NBA. So again, that's the reason why I really wanted to play the rebound line. But just because of the recent, I guess, lack of success in his entire career versus this team, I just went ahead and took the points and rebounds. It makes a lot of sense though, because he's likely going to be matched up with Jaren Jackson Jr., a guy who's always kind of been in conversation for a defensive player of the year. I think led the NBA in blocks last year. A tough defensive matchup for him. And if it's not Jaren Jackson Jr., it could probably be Brandon Clark, because I know Steven Adams is questionable. Brandon Clark, also an athletic, great rim-protecting center. And if it isn't that, then it'll be Steven Adams. And he's, even Steven Adams, a very tough defensive matchup. Going to be tough to get offensive rebounds versus Steven Adams. So whatever the matchup ends up being tonight for Isaiah Stewart, it's going to be tough. Also, game sits at a 10.5-point spread. I know I've been hot playing the Pistons as a 10.5-point underdog this season, but I think this is one of the ones that probably gets away from him tonight, is against the Pistons. So if this game does end up being a blowout, then that means less of a chance that Isaiah Stewart is on the floor, because he's not going to give them much offensive ability to catch back up in the game. So give me Isaiah Stewart under 18.5 points and rebounds as our second play of the day today. Okay, next up in our last play of the day here is going to be coming from the early game, the Charlotte versus New York Knicks game. This is going to be Kelly Oubre over 28.5 rebounds and points, or points and rebounds. This is strictly going to be a usage play. I'm not really super fond on playing the Charlotte Hornets, who are one of the worst offensive teams in the NBA. But really, it just comes down to it. They have no choice but to throw him in the game and to have him obviously chuck up a whole lot of shots. The last 4 games since the Hornets have been super depleted, it's averaging 39 minutes per game, 25 points and 6 rebounds. There's only 10 available players that they have playing in the rotation right now. Do the Hornets, and Kelly Oubre only has 1 sub. He only has 1 guy that kind of plays his same position, so he doesn't really have somebody to pull him off the floor. Obviously, if he's exhausted, they've got to pull him off the floor, but he really doesn't have a sub, which makes a lot of sense on why he's playing 39 minutes per game in his last 4 games. So the fact that he's just out there so long, it just automatically puts the fact that he's going to be taking a whole lot of shots, which is why his points is sitting at a 25 average in his last 4 games. Going to go ahead and take the points and rebounds. He's a guy who's pretty aggressive on the glass. And this is, in this game, outside of Mitchell Robinson, really not a lot of length on the floor versus this Knicks team. So I like the chances of him being able to get quite a few rebounds tonight versus the Knicks. And his matchup, likely defensively, I would have to project is probably going to be RJ Barrett, to put a guy that's a little bit longer on to Kelly Oubre, opposed to Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes might be on him at times, but I would have to think if you were the Knicks, you probably got to put Barrett on him. Both bad defenders, and Kelly Oubre is a pretty good scorer in his own right off the dribble, and also as a catch-and-shoot guy. Knicks give up a whole lot of threes. It's a primary strength of Kelly Oubre's game, is a whole lot of three-point shooting. So I'm liking Kelly Oubre today, over 28.5 points and rebounds. This game actually only sits at a 4.5-point spread, which I also think is quite interesting, because the Charlotte Hornets have been playing very bad basketball lately, just because of a lot of injuries to that team, of course. And then the Knicks have been playing pretty good basketball. They just blew out the Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks, just the other day. They just blew them out on national television. So the fact that, and it's actually dropped. I think it was 4.5 this morning, is now down to 3.5. So slightly going more into the favor of the Charlotte Hornets is the early line movement. So if this game ends up staying really close, I love that even more, because Kelly Oubre will be getting more time, taking more shots towards the end of this game. So give me Kelly Oubre over 28.5 rebounds and points tonight. Okay, which means it's time for our perfect three slip today. Some extra plays that it was worth mentioning, and I like them a lot, that I might even throw them up on Instagram. They won't be official plays that go towards the record, but I still think they're worth noting. Brook Lopez, under 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's taking on the number one, or I think they're the number two rated overall defense versus centers today in the Dallas Mavericks. So I think it could be a tough night for Brook Lopez. Rudy Gobert over 13.5 rebounds, taking on his former team today. Had 21 rebounds in his last matchup. No cat on the floor, so that helps his rebounds even more. So Rudy Gobert over 13.5 rebounds is also a really good play. And then also Kyle Kuzma. It looks like Kristaps is questionable. Bradley Beal's out. Kyle Kuzma is the number one option for that Wizards offense this year. Has been a great play. So look for Kyle Kuzma. If there was a Kyle Kuzma line out today, I would have played it 100%. There just isn't one out in the time that I wanted to get the video out. So Kyle Kuzma, Brook Lopez, and Rudy Gobert are all other extra options that I really thought about playing today. But for today's perfect three slip is the lock of the day. Mikal Bridges over 14.5 points. Then give me Isaiah Stewart under 18.5 points and rebounds. And then give me Kelly Oubre over 28.5 points and rebounds as today's perfect three slip. All right, guys. So that being said, that's going to wrap up today's video. I think we're in a pretty big drought. I think it's been about a week and a half or so since we've hit a sweep. Got a really good feeling about this one tonight. Obviously, I feel really good about it every single day, but I got a really good feeling about this one tonight. So let's connect. Let's cash on this play tonight. I still have been getting messages from people that have been taking like my locks of the day, because my locks of the day this month have been doing pretty good, or just picking out a couple of plays and they've been winning off of them. That's like what I really encourage people to do. You can tell me, obviously, if you want to, all of the plays. But I like it when people just pick and pull out, just the lock of the day, or just the second play, third play, whatever. They don't have to necessarily just tail me all the way, but hopefully I can still help you guys win in some ways. In some ways, obviously when I sweep, it helps a lot. But so with that being said, guys, I will go ahead and catch you tomorrow. Peace.